Hello, it's Molly Reamer with Bridges Grove and 30 Days of Goddess, and this is a brief flip through video of my October mini prayer book. So I published several different versions of these. They are not month specific, and they are very small and simple compared to the larger prayer books, which have a lot more space and have words in the front, so you have a themed prompt for the day, and they have additional resources and things in the back. So this little mini version is kind of a back to the roots. When I first started 30 Days of Goddess in January of 2021, I offered a very small printable file. You can still access that small printable file via 30daysofgoddess.com, so that's still accessible to you if you want to make your own book. And then these little mini versions are also available via Amazon, so if you live in another country, you can easily get one that way via Amazon. And then we also sell them in assorted cover styles in our Etsy shop, which is bridgesgrove.etsy.com. And they do, with the different covers, they do each have a different poem in the front and a different poem in the back. And whoops, maybe I'll have to get to that later. They have a different poem in the back, but then the interior pages, where is my poem? The interior pages are the same, and that's there's the poem in the back. And the interior is very simple. So this is meant to be a really pocket, see how little it is? It's meant to be very pocket size and easy to take with you as a travel prayer book, or if you just simply don't have very much time. One of the things I say is that a 30 Days of Goddess practice can really, actually, there's some practices that can only be 15 seconds. And then at the same time, you know, obviously we want more than 15 seconds, but you still can have a practice that's 15 seconds long. And then if you have time for, let's say, more like a 15-minute to a half an hour practice, then these mini prayer books are perfect containers for that. So on the inside front cover, I used a card from Effie Wild. I'm her patron on Patreon, and she does these weekly cards. And then on the back, I used Solitude from the Enchanted Map Oracle. I went to a goddess festival, and at the opening ritual, everyone was given an oracle card, and that was the one I got, and I thought it was appropriate. I had a little pocket in the back to hold my monthly post graphics, but I used all the post graphics up inside the book, so you will see those as we flip through, but I like to put the envelope there so I can hold all my stuff and have it ready. These really are intended to be kind of a grab and go practice, a portable sacred space, a miniature altar, if you will, a little tiny temple in your very own hands. And but the envelope makes that be more transportable. I didn't end up filling out my moon wheel in this one because I do it in the larger book, and didn't feel the need to double the work. And that's the thing about this practice, about 30 Days of Goddess, about these prayer books, is it's really about what works for you, what meets your needs, what supports your practices, what feels nourishing and restorative and centering for you. So if something doesn't work, just skip it and keep going. There's not a right way or there's not a failure with it. So for the most part, in this book, I did usually write something extra. I kept this tiny prayer book with an idea towards not having to write anything new, but just use it for little bits of magic, kind of almost, like just little extras, spillover content from the larger book. And then I found that I actually enjoyed writing something for it as well. So I write in the larger prayer book in the mornings, and I understand that not everybody has time to keep multiple prayer books. This is a process that I've invented and created and poured my heart and soul into and love to share with other people. So it makes sense that I have to. And then I spend, an hour or more a day working with this process, but that's not what I expect from everybody else. What I really want to create is as many resources that are accessible and open and welcoming for lots of different people with lots of different ideas and lots of different timelines and availabilities. So there's not like a form for that. I believe I hear one of my children on the roof yelling hello, so that is rather interesting. They're re-roofing the house right now. I'm gonna come out and see them. Hey, I'm making a video out here. Anyway, In this page, for example, we had a memorial service for my aunt who actually died in 2020, but we finally honored her with a memorial at the river this year. And so there was some rose petals from her memorial. We let her ashes go and also some flowers. And so I saved some of those. I used my little images. I got a Witch's Date book, an older edition, specifically for cutting up and posting in this book. And it was so fun. And I just really like the woodcut kind of style. This page looks like I didn't write anything new, but most of the pages in the mini book this month, I did add a small piece of new writing, and I found that really fulfilling. It was it's a low pressure content and simple and quick. Oops. These books are a little, because they have the binding, they are a little harder they don't stay flat. So you have to kind of hold them open when you're flipping through. This comes from Kristen at Over the Moon Academy. I belong to her Ko-fi, I think. And she has this neat little deck, and so I used some of those cards this month. Another image from Witch's Date book. I do recommend getting older date books with art that you like and then cutting them up. You know, it's okay to see them as a supply. I spilled tea on this book and kind of wrecked the top of almost all the pages. I know tea staining can look good when it's done intentionally. That was not intentional and doesn't look that great. And it smeared my ink and was a little frustrating to me. This has something in the pocket that I can't get out right now because I only have one hand. Oh, I forgot to put my mood in on that one. Sometimes I find things when I'm going back and making these flip through videos, and I would have said, oh yeah, I filled out that on every page. But because that's a duplicate of the larger book too, so I don't always. And oh yeah, I'm taking This I Believe class with Patricia Lynn Riley, and I read a poem in the class, and that's an excerpt from the poem that I included in my pocket. A lot of times I do represent something from the day that's happened in the day on the pages. But anyway, like I said, and when I come back, sometimes I see that I didn't actually do something, and that's okay, because this is a process of liberation and liberating your spirituality, not about making it rigid and confining. So paradoxically, I speak of there being this divine union sort of between sacred sameness and infinite possibility, and that's what these books hold space for, this sacred sameness and infinite possibility. And so while they create a structure, a process, and a container, what happens in that container is infinite, limitless, and liberating. A little pocket that came from Amanda Fall, the Phoenix Soul. There's probably something in there too, but basically I'm not able to get into my pockets with this one little hand of mine. I should have set on my tripod. This is from a greeting card that I cut out, one of those charity kind of greeting cards. That one has something in the pocket too. Every time you see a rectangular kind of prayer card on this side, it is a pocket. Some of which have things in them and some don't. This one I ended up writing so much I only had room for one little sticker. Coloring page from Joni Ray, tiny book that I made. Leaves, went a lot of fall walks and admired a lot of fall leaf color. Oops. A lot of writing in this one too. Oh, new words. I was thinking of new words for liberate at the top. Fitting, since I was just speaking of these as books of liberation for us. Some of these pages got a little sticky with the spill. Also from Joni Ray, Tales of the Kitchen Witch. Art and Angst is her Patreon. I always call her Tales of the Kitchen Witch because that is her Facebook page name, but she's Art and Angst on Patreon. Got some stickers at that same festival where I got, or the same festival where I got the Solitude card in the back. More pretty leaves. Oh, and we're already at the end. And then I had some time. I was listening to a class or participating in a class, and I do find that these books are good companions for Zoom-based things, and they still leave space to listen and pay attention while also having something to do with your hands while you're listening to other people. And so I work on them during Zoom classes. And so I had this extra time. So I ended up coloring the back picture, and then I used these little affirmation graphics. That's a perk for our Goddess Magic community on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Bridget's Grove, or /Goddess Magic now. I switched it. Patreon.com/Goddess Magic. And I make the set of graphics. I post them each day on social media, but I make the graphics available as a file to the patrons, and so they can print them out and use them like an oracle deck, or to embellish their pages, or for an affirmation for each day. And so I had extra ones because as I keep going, I have a tendency to make things like a little more, and so then I make more than 30, and so there's a couple versions for each day, and so I had some leftovers. That's also an art card from Effie Wild. And so I just went ahead and added them to the blank pages at the back of the book, and that made me happy. That was a good way to use them. And then a final little, I just loved that little picture from, I think that was maybe from the Taurus full moon section of the Witch's Daybook, but I liked that and put it there. And then on the very back, I have a Continue to Do Good Works from Kina Reed, who is divesting from whiteness, about Black liberation and addressing white privilege and moving away from the white gaze and centering white people all the time. So I try to do what I can to support the work of people who are doing that important work of liberation. And so that's where I got that sticker from, was for being one of those patrons. And I put it on the back of my book as a reminder. So that is the quick flip through. Again, the books themselves are in our Etsy shop, bridgetsgrove.etsy.com, or via Amazon, or in printable version via 30daysofgoddess.com. So thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. And thanks for taking part in this magic and wonder and delight that is 30 Days of Goddess.